Welcome back. Today's episode is all about building your brand. We're talking personal brand, business brand, whether you're building your brand for the very first time, or maybe you've been in business for a while and you're just looking to revamp it. That's why we're here today. I'm Joe Barker, and this is David Belleville, and let's jump right in, David. So what really sets us apart is us. I mean, we are the unique factor that comes into play. So where there's 10,000 other digital marketers out there, what really sets me apart from all of them is the way that I explain things. It's my personality, the way that I try to break things down and I try to simplify things and make it digestible. That is what sets me apart from them. We're still talking about the same things. We're sharing the same information, but our personalities set us apart. And I think it's really important as people start building their personal brands, you start to second guess yourself a lot. And I think it's just important to level set and know you're not going to be relatable to everybody, and that's okay. But the ones that you are relatable to and the ones that really get you, those are the people that you really want to connect with and follow you. And you'll build relationships out there, and you won't even realize it's happening. But when you start building your personal brand and people will start following you, and they're building a relationship with you, and it's vital, and they really start to trust you, and you become a thought leader in whatever industry that you're in.
Right, and especially in the day of AI, people more and more are craving that human connection and that authenticity, which is why every time we talk about AI, we make sure to point out that the human touch is still relevant, the human touch is still paramount. And when we talk about that human element, a lot of times we are talking about personal branding because AI is a great tool and it can make your life a lot more efficient, but it doesn't know who you are unless you tell it. And so take inventory of your mission and your purpose and what your values are, how you want your audience to engage with you and look at you, and then build content that resonates with those points. But you have to really get clear on who you are, what you stand for, and create goals that align with those values before you can really start jumping into social media and creating content or recording videos. You need to know who you are and what you stand for at first.
Yeah, it's so funny. We do marketing for agents, advisors, FMOs, broker-dealers. That's what we do. We do marketing in this industry every single day. And I always find it funny when we have a new agent or advisor call us and say, hey, I really want your help building out my brand online. And then we start asking questions back. And one of their first responses is, well, you're the marketing team. Go figure it out. And it's like, okay, we can. Right. And we can do that for you. But understand you're going to sound like everybody else that we're doing it for. If you don't tell us more about you and what makes you different, because you're the unique part of it. And there's always something unique. Like I'll give an example. There was an agent who was really, really big in triathlons. And so that was a passion of his. And there was a way that we could incorporate that into the marketing and really make it his own. And so it's little things like that we can do to where it personalizes it to who you really are, and it makes people relate to you even more. When I started building my brand, I shared a lot about the softball world because my girls played softball.
Right.
All of a sudden, I started getting messages from people on LinkedIn, and they're like, oh, I was a coach too, or I did this also. And I'm like, it's amazing that personal connection that you start to get when people really get to know you. So building your personal brand and putting yourself out there, in my opinion, is absolutely vital if you're trying to, get more clients or grow your online presence.
I couldn't agree more, Joe. And let's see, this is our second podcast episode of the year. But what many out there might not have seen is the weeks and weeks and months leading up to this podcast episode where we spent time getting clear on who our target audience is, what challenges are they facing, and what content that we can create to address those challenges. So, before the lights turn on and the cameras turn on, get really clear on what your values are, what your mission is, and who you're speaking to. And then what you'll find is once you start putting yourself out there, everything starts to fall into place and everything starts to get easier and easier. And so once you've taken stock of what your brand stands for, then you can start creating content, at least the beginnings of that phase. And so, Joe, if I'm just now launching a brand and I feel clear now of who I'm speaking to and what I believe in, what would be like the first technical step to start, putting this plan to paper?
Well, you have to build that online presence.
Mm.
There's some basic things that you have to do just to show you're credible. Website's always been that number one. It's your online storefront. It's where people go and they're like, oh, they're legitimate. They actually have a website. Even if you don't post on it a lot or do a lot on there, it's really vital that you have that online presence so people just get that feeling of you having a credible and that you're a credible business or company. Next up is social media. You know, you could sit there all day long and build websites all day, but the fact is people are spending 2 or 3 hours a day on social media. So don't worry as much about how many people are coming to your website. Meet them where they're at. See their current behaviors. If you know your target audience, you know probably where they're spending their time. If your target audience is that 65 plus, guess what, guys? They're on Facebook and they're on YouTube. Get on there with them. They're spending 2 hours a day on Facebook. They're there. Just go meet them there. It's not about selling to them there. It's about being, in the community with them. There's plenty of community groups. There's plenty of things that you can do to connect with them, and they're already there. So they're just waiting, to be found there. YouTube's the same thing, especially for the male audience. The YouTube in that 65 plus is huge. Get on there and do what we're doing now. You're making videos and you're just teaching and you're just sharing your expertise in your industry. And it's amazing how many people will begin to follow you on there. So I think you have to have a website for the credibility. Get on social media, be where your clients are. You don't need to be on all of them. You just need to know where your main client base is. If you're in the wealth industry, you probably want to be on LinkedIn. People don't spend a ton amount of time on LinkedIn. You're talking, probably less than 30 minutes a day. But the fact is, LinkedIn is that networking platform. And if you're looking for professionals, then that's probably where you need to be. So get your social media up and running, get your website up and running. Gotta have Google My Business if you're selling local. You have to have it. It is free. Can't beat free. Google My Business. You just go Google it, get in there, set up your storefront, start getting reviews to that. It shows that you're local. Search now has dropped a little bit because of AI, but Google at one time had over 90% of all the search. And of that, 46% was local searches. So if people are looking for an insurance agent in Medicare near me, Google My Business will pop up as long as you have it optimized for that. So you've got website, you've got social media, you've got Google My Business. I'm sure there's, you got to do the basics of the business cards and attending events and stuff like that. But those are the bare minimum, in my opinion, that you have to have online if you're getting going and getting started or even revamping.